All right, we should be good. We're back and we're ready to roll, and my OBS is working again, which is great. I'm flabbergasted we got through all of the mainline characters and got to DLC of Ultimate without any technical problems.
It's a
Except
beautiful thing.
it's pretty rad when my computer can actually hold that, so it's awesome. But like finally, we're just gonna sum up some Incineroar just in case the video file was corrupted a hair. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're dead on with your commentary. Concept for Incineroar is way cool enough to make a Final 40, but the actual execution is way better as an outside looking in than an actual
hmm
Final 40 guarantee. I think, but I'm now looking at the outside looking in. We keep building, so it's hard to say this, but Incineroar's concept might be enough for me if we have enough to maybe push Incineroar in. Because I don't
I
think
could see it.
I don't have an issue putting another Pokemon rep in if I'm gonna go,
I'm
you
not
know,
mad at it either.
if I'm
Yeah.
gonna go Johnny Businessman especially. So, all right, we're at
JBM.
we're at Piranha Plant. I want to hear your thoughts before I say anything.
Piranha Plant is an easy Final 40.
My heart tells me the exact same thing, and I didn't think I would ever say that. I just think it's such a weird, unique, fun way to represent so many different games, so many different things. Like it's so
It
it's
is.
so weird in all the best
It's so
ways.
ballsy
Yes.
as like a first DLC character, and also have it be like this weird like you can also just get them for free if you're doing like
Yeah.
if you
It's just the
purchase like
incentive to
yeah
play,
like that
incentive to buy it. That's it.
yeah, and like as a character it's so great because it is they want to represent the Mario franchise. They have done that. They don't need to do that anymore.
Absolutely.
So the fact that the way that they are doing it isn't like what is the next most financially viable character. It was like let's do something different. Let's
Yep.
think like what's a Mario enemy we can represent? Like Piranha Plant Piranha Plant feels to me like they got a room of designers together and said like what is a move set? What is a play space that we haven't explored at all yet?
Yeah.
And then Piranha Plant was birthed from that idea. And that creativity, that approach, that artistic element is beautiful to me.
Yeah.
That
Me
is the
too.
kind of thing that I like love to see. Like I love to see the gameplay expression being one of the core conceits. That is one of the things that I think is really cool and stand out about Smash Brothers compared to a lot of other like big AAA games is a lot of AAA games are trying to see like what are the ways that we can get more hours out of this from you? What are the ways that we can get more graphics on
Yes.
the screen for you? But like Smash Brothers has always been an example of like how do we get funner gameplay into this? And
Yep.
gameplay really is at the center of it. And Piranha Plant feels like a bunch of people who are really, really good at designing a fighting game, saying like, what are new things we could be exploring in this space?
Yeah.
And like Piranha Plant came out of it, and it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. I thought your thoughts were gonna be what I thought everybody would have thought. You're either gonna be in love with Piranha Plant and think it's a must, or you're gonna say
So good.
we don't need fucking Piranha Plant. I'm of the opinion
Okay.
exactly what
So
you
good.
said. It is such a unique, different character. The way it was brought out was as a gift and a troll at the same time. I loved that vibe where they're like, "Hey, look at this awesome character." And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
"What the hell is this?" And you're like, "Piranha Plant? What?" Like, you've got to be kidding me. Piranha Plant made this roster? Are you insane? But then
Oh,
and it
so
also
good.
hit the ultimate vibe so well because you're like everyone is here and you're like this character made it, everyone is here including this character. That is insane. But also like spitting on the grave of all Waluigi fans didn't help, but at the same time like because I want Waluigi in too, and especially for our boy Kyle, I want Waluigi in Smash, but like
I know he would love that.
I want Waluigi too, but like the fact that a character was made and I don't think there's a single person that I've played with that goes, this character sucks. everyone
Mm-hmm.
at least finds a redeeming quality about it, that's really powerful. Because you can have classic characters that everyone loves and still goes, they suck in this game. I don't want to play as them.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, okay,
and
we're done gushing over it. Besides just
yeah,
continually gushing,
PP's in.
it's in.
PP's in.
Piranha Plant is such a good character, dude. I love that character.
And,
So
and
unique,
like
so different.
one of the details I feel like I really just want to call out is that no one was asking for Piranha Plant.
No,
And that's part of what makes it so good is that like there's still the designers on the other end that are like it's not just we know what we're doing.
hmm
You have to trust us as the people making this game that like we're not just going to do the top 10 list of like everything you guys voted on. We understand why all of the complaints on all of the forums are always asking for like why isn't number 3 on this list coming in if they're higher than like the number 7 vote. Like there's such a ballsy element to the like we are going to put all the time, effort, and like everything
yep,
into making this character that no one asked for, and then after you get it, you're going to see why you should trust us because we made them absolutely worthwhile. Still, like
absolutely.
we know it better than you know that we know it.
As
Oh,
someone
so
who
good,
is
so good.
as someone who is currently living that with his life, as in pro football, I definitely can tell you that it's really rewarding when that happens. Because
That's
like,
really funny.
although I was invested in Jordan Love, the whole world's like, he's gonna suck, and the whole front office is like, trust us, it's gonna work. And guess what? It did. And we have the quarterback of the future in Green Bay. You're welcome. By the way, watch the O.N.E.T.A football show every Thursday on PTE Creative. Hashtag shameless plug. Now, beyond that, but yeah, it's the same concept. Trust us, we're going to do right. And they did that with Piranha Plant. I never would have picked Piranha Plant.
Mm-hmm.
That is like 10
Yeah,
guys got high in a room and said, wouldn't it be funny if Piranha Plant was in the game? Like, that's the level of somebody wanting that. That's insane. All right,
yeah, I love it.
we are at Joker, the first true DLC character. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel very strongly for Joker being in the game. I know there are many people who will disagree with me. I don't know if you're one of them or not. Give me your thoughts. Why Persona 5 Joker?
Um, Persona franchise is awesome.
Okay.
Getting the Persona music into Smash Brothers, I think, is a genuine treasure. The music in Persona is some of the like coolest, most stylish, most extravagant, most out there stuff
Okay.
in the Smash Brothers music roster.
Sure.
Like I think that like there's a bunch of like the Smash music is really
Hit or miss?
they set up an app. No, I was going to go the other way around. Like they set up an app thing for Smash Ultimate so you could just listen to the music on your Switch if you wanted to. Cuz like the music matters that much in these games. Like
Yeah. That's
it's
true.
a big detail like when one of the reasons people get excited, for example, when a Sephiroth gets announced, is
Is the
because
music.
they know that means One Winged Angel is coming to Smash
Oh yeah,
Bros.
no, it's
Like,
gotten me to the point I've never played Final Fantasy. At least 30 to 40 times over the last month I've listened to One Wing Angel because I'm like, I just need to get in that headspace of like creating a villain. What does it bring me? I need to be in
yes,
that headspace. I go, One Winged Angel. I need a final boss idea. I need Sephiroth energy.
I need that Sephiroth energy. And like, I bring that up in the Persona sense because like Persona is 100% known for its music. Like the one of the like
But is it a quality
Persona
enough
3, 4, and
character
5.
is my big thing.
So we're getting to that.
Yeah.
I wanted to take a little bit of a like kind of side road here to talk about music a little bit because I think Joker is a good character to talk about that with
Okay.
because the music is so core to the franchise and also like it is important to acknowledge how important the music is to Smash.
It is for
Um,
sure.
one of the things that like as a example of how core like the music stuff is to the Persona series, like one of the most popular spin-off games for the Persona games are the dancing franchise. Persona 4 Dancing, Persona 5 Dancing, Persona 3 Dancing, which are like full rhythm games made from the songs from the Persona series
Interesting.
with remixes added as well. And like people buy those games because they just want excuses to listen to the music. So
Okay.
like I mentioned all of this as a like there's some real bangers in there. There's some real, just like absolute stellar standout tracks that are like, I have had moments where I said, I am picking that stage because I want to be listening to Persona music while I play this game because
Interesting.
it's just that
Okay.
cool.
Because I'm not
And
I'm
on
not a
top of
Persona
that,
fan,
like, I
so
think, yeah, even if you're not a Persona fan, I think a lot of the music can stand on
oh
its
yeah,
own.
yeah. The Persona movie
The,
was cool.
the next detail on that is just like, Persona 5 was a really huge game. It was a really huge game, representative of like a, how do I word it, like a swelling in popularity for a game that was delivering extreme quality for a long period of time, and kind of grassroots grew into something like far beyond itself.
Okay.
And I think that is something really, really cool in the story of like how Persona became what it was. If you look at like Persona 3 was like the kind of bringing to life what modern Persona is.
Yeah.
But if you take it all the way back to Persona 1, like these were weird games. These are really weird niche games, and like the fact that it has made it onto the stage of Super Smash Brothers
Yeah.
is a really cool
It's a
thing
testament
and
to
a
how big
really
it's
big
gotten.
deal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My thing
And like,
is, I didn't know how
go
big
ahead.
Persona 5 was. I still don't.
Yeah,
To me, I don't like
it's huge, dude.
because the thing is, like, it's like I said before, I'm hyper fixated on the franchises that I love. I have a general sense of what's going on. And if you don't make that general sense, that kind of tells me something about where your franchise is. I can be wrong. I'm not saying I can't be, but it's like
Hmm.
how I view a lot of stuff is like, if I'm not in that realm and I know what you
Hmm.
are and I know how important you are, that tells me something that this needs to be included or it doesn't. And to me, like
Hmm.
Persona doesn't have that. But again, I can be wrong. And the music is certainly something that's worthwhile to hear
Hmm.
the discussion on because I do not play on a Donkey Kong stage without the DK rap from N64. I do not play a Sonic stage
Good
without
track.
I do not play a Sonic stage without Escape from the City. I do not play.
Good track.
Uh, I love all the Zelda music. I do not play without the medleys on because I want to hear as much as possible, or I want to
Very good.
hear the Hyrule Castle music from Breath of the Wild. That's what I want to hear because it sets the stage for what I'm going to do. And I get it. Like
Hmm.
the music is important
All
in
good
that.
tracks.
So like I'm open to the discussion of Joker. I don't know if Joker is a definite final 40 for me though. I think it's a
If
strong
I
outside looking in character personally.
if I had my druthers, Joker would be Final 40, with him being one of the early considerations for being pulled out
Okay, I can accept
before he
that.
would be outside looking in to get pulled in.
Okay, I will accept that and made a valid argument. And we also have 10 slots left, so we're cool. We could theoretically put all these characters in except one. And also, me's not going to count. I will say that right now. I'm just going to pull me to toss up so people know me's are important. The me fighters are important, and technically we should have already spoken about them because they came in during the Wii
Yeah.
U and 3DS era. I want expansion on me characters, just like everybody else, because the custom character thing it's fun that exists. It's gotten better. I enjoy
No
doing
one
it from
uses
time
it.
to time, but like I do it for a couple fights and then I'm done. You know, like I wish it was better.
There's
It's a great way.
there's a
It's a great excuse for Nintendo to make 75 cents on a transaction. Like,
there's yes. There's a cool idea there. It is not expressed in a way that is actually that interesting. I like, I'm never picking the me characters just because like they're not particularly fun to play as.
mhm.
I think the me costumes are a fun idea, but it always feels like a consolation prize. Like they through those costumes have set up the me fighters to feel like a built-in disappointment because it is a statement of, this is a character that you are not going to get.
Mhm.
This is a confirmation of something that you want that isn't going to happen.
Yeah, and
Like
it's
what?
it's a great add-on when you're like, I never expected, nor do I really want a Team Rocket grunt. So when you get Team Rocket grunt, you're like, that's a cool little me
Sure.
costume. Hey, I've got some extra coins from my purchase of the game. You know what? Have my coins back for the Team Rocket grunt because I just want to have the Team Rocket grunt costume. But same
Yeah.
thing, you know me, Skyrim's my favorite game of all time. And they're like, yo, Smash Bros. Cross Dragonborn. Do you know why that is, actually?
Hmm.
So, like, Japan, you can't, as a child protection law, you can't do crossovers with like rated M games in Japan and then advertise it or something like that, or you can't have crossovers and stuff like that. Like, obviously, like,
Interesting.
rated M games can't happen. I need to look more into the
Hmm.
law specifically, but I just heard about it.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when they did the Skyrim crossover of
Dragonborn,
of
not
the Dragon
Skyrim.
Cross, it says Cross Dragonborn. It doesn't say Skyrim, and you're
That's
like,
pretty funny.
that's so dumb. And especially, I'm like, I get it that if you had to do that in Japan, why are you doing that in the US
In the U.S.
or Europe?
Yeah.
Like, that's so stupid. Like, everybody knows it's from
Marketing,
Skyrim.
baby.
I'm buying it because it's from Skyrim because, yes, I do want the Dragonborn in the game because I think it's a
Yeah.
wealth of beautiful potential. But
Hmm.
it's like exactly what you're saying. I get so, like, I get one moment of that's cool, and I get really happy, and then I also get the crushing reality of the character I want the most in this game is probably never going to be in this game, and I think it is a worthy participant through every argument we've ever made, and it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, they're just not particularly fun to play.
Yeah.
I like in Smash 4, the Wii U and 3DS one. I thought it was a really cool idea
Hmm.
when they introduced the modifying movesets,
Yeah.
and like them being able to do that for all the characters is like genuinely like a really awesome idea, and it feels like the Mii fighters like it's just a lesser version of that. Like the actual implementation is like there's no move set of Mii fighters that I've ever come away feeling like, oh, this is particularly fun to play as.
There's
Like
a few that I enjoy,
it
but I
is
get
it
it.
is the milk toast of characters.
Yep.
It is the milk toast of characters. Yeah.
I get it. No, it's definitely one where I think it needs to be expanded. I think there needs to be more profiles,
Yes.
but I would have it under just me's. But I think it needs to be like me wizard or me mage. Like, I think you need a shooter, you need a swordsman, you need this, like, or me barbarian. Make a heavy version of it. And you're like, yo, you can just go smash
Hmm.
people, and it's cool. But then you need to have like at least 8 moves per choice. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, there's some real variation here. And then another cool concept that we could talk about further, because we won't go into details, like, what if you bought a me costume for, I don't care if you charge me $2 or $3 for it, you charge me the Dragonborn, but then I can actually use my final smash as Fusroda, and I can just push people off the map with a final smash. And you're like, at least I get something from that game to
That'd be
tell
cool.
me I like it. You know, so we can talk more about
I
that
do
later,
like the idea of like the distinct final smash being part of the costume, so
or like a
they don't have to
signature
make an
move.
entire brand new move set for it, but like
Yeah,
a signature move.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but we'll get to it. This I was shocked by that I thought so strongly of it. Easy final 40 for me is Hero from Dragonborn or Dragon Quest.
From Dragon Quest. I'd take it. Yeah.
I think
I think
the move set
he's
idea is just
distinct.
so distinct and so unique and
Yeah.
so cool.
I think that's why a lot of the DLC stuff, like, it's easier for me to want to include because I think that for Smash Ultimate they got more out there and more creative with the DLC,
Yeah, for
and I think
sure.
that Hero ends up being a big example of that. Like, I think that just looking at him, it's dude with a sword. That's not particularly crazy or interesting, but playing him, like, he feels more out there.
To
He
me,
feels like a, oh, I'm activating different parts of my brain than I
yeah,
normally am when I'm playing as this character, and that's cool.
I think the coolest part about it is I think of every DLC character in Smash history, I think Hero is the best. I think that is the
Mm,
definition of what a DLC character is. And hear me out on this. Maybe it's not everyone's favorite to play. It comes with an incredibly unique move set that is solely just heroes. It comes with 4 different character skins to completely honor its entire franchise. And its unique abilities and music and everything else that comes with it makes it fun for everybody to play, whether you've played every Dragon Quest game start to finish 17 times or you just heard Dragon Quest for the first time on its release trailer. Like, that is DLC well done at its finest, in my opinion, where everything about it is just like, I'm accentuating what the game is from its source material,
Mm-hmm.
but I can bring it to someone who's never heard of it or is just like, hey, I'm a completionist. I'm getting it because it's part of Smash. Like that's part of the reason I get the DLC packs, because if you look at the actual characters that I would just buy because of the character, it would have been Banjo, and then you probably could have got me to buy Sephiroth because Sephiroth looks cool and I know Sephiroth's a badass. But I wouldn't have probably bought any other one if I had to buy each one individually. But
Interesting.
Hero is the kind of character where I feel as a general gamer that just loves Smash and doesn't love every franchise ever,
Mm-hmm.
Hero makes me go, these are worthwhile purchases. Like I adore Hero.
I think that's true. I think that you are making a really good argument for Hero. There's a different character that I think is the most standout DLC character, but well, there's two, but one of them is very, very colored by my lived life and experience.
Sure, of course.
But I when we get to them, I will bring that up.
Fair. But you're comfortable with Final 40
Yeah,
Hero? Yeah, okay.
definitely. Yeah,
Banjo and Kazooie, this one hurts me, would be outside looking in.
this is one I didn't think we were gonna agree on, but yeah, I think I agree. Like there is a there's a history to Banjo and Kazooie
Hmm.
that I feel like feels more
Important.
impactful than it probably actually is.
Yes.
Like the those games were fun. I enjoyed those games, but also like I was a little kid who didn't have any taste, and like I've
Yep.
gone back to those games and like they're good, but not like
Even when I played them
not
as a
yeah
kid, I felt that way, where it didn't feel like I wasn't a huge Super Mario 64 fan. But when I'd go to my friend's house and play it, I was like, it's not my favorite game, but I get it. I get it. You know?
hmm
And when I'd play Banjo Kazooie or Banjo Tooie, I liked the look of it a little bit more. But I was like, it kind of just
they're
feels like
pretty
it kind of feels like I'm living a mid-tier cartoon. I'm not playing a great
yeah
game. And I think that like my thing with Banjo and Kazooie from a Smash thing, it was so important as fan service to get Banjo and Kazooie in. The most important thing about Banjo and Kazooie was seeing Duck Hunt get hit with the troll job
yeah
and Banjo coming in. It was more because it meant the impossible is happening again.
hmm
Microsoft is going to work with Nintendo for this game by at least licensing their character. That's really cool.
yeah
But it's not good enough from Banjo plays so well, or Banjo's nostalgia is just so powerful you have to have it. It's just like he's one of those that if it were 55, he'd probably make my cut because I'm like, it'd be nice to have Banjo in this game.
yeah.
But it ain't
He's
55, it's
he's
40.
definitely he's a nostalgia pick.
Yeah.
Like he is like Banjo Kazooie as a playable character to me feels like the we want to tickle the nostalgia bone in 90s kids.
Yes.
And a large part of our demographic of people who play this
It
game
is 90s kids.
are 90s kids. So like it is going to be popular with this group, but like not particularly with merit, just with memory.
Yep.
I think I would also put them in an outside looking in.
There. I
'Cause, like,
didn't.
I still really like Banjo Kazooie. Like, whatever. Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is one of my favorite games of all
I know
time.
you love
And
that
for
game. And I think the
it's
internet would
so
tell you
good.
that you're so wrong, and I don't have an
They're
opinion
so
either way.
wrong.
I don't have an opinion either way.
Oh,
You know, I think it's
it's
just a simple like it's one of those that what I think about Banjo Kazooie is nostalgia is the best and easiest way to put it, but Banjo represents sometimes it feels like we as fans want, because it's been so long and we want the forbidden door to open. We want what we wanted in Smash 64. We want the 20 characters
I think
that we
that's fair.
wanted in Smash 64. We don't necessarily want new and innovative stuff. And that is why like Hero is so impressive to me, is cuz you could ask me to write 100 different video game characters on this. I prior to Hero's introduction to me never would have wrote Hero down ever. It's because I don't know Dragon Quest. I don't know the game. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about Dragon Quest. I know it's a very, I know it's a, I don't even know if it's a very popular. It's a popular JRPG series. In Japan,
In
apparently it's
in
very
Japan,
big.
it's the biggest thing in the world. It's like, do you know about that? Like, that's one of those things that
Yeah, it's a
there's like
Japan
an
favorite.
expected, but specifically like there is an expected lull in like the financial earnings of the entire country when a Dragon Quest game comes out
That is
because
insane.
everyone takes the day off when a new Dragon Quest game comes out so they can play it at home. And like it just means that like the economy of the entire nation of Japan is just like slowed down for that day
That is
because they just
insane.
know people aren't going to be coming. Like it's it's cool. It's a big deal. It's awesome. And like I whatever, we're not talking about Hero right now technically, but I do love that that is being represented to an American audience as well. One of
Yeah,
the big virtues of Smash Brothers, as it has been as a franchise, has been doing that cross pollination of,
yeah.
hey, Americans, these are things that Japanese like players care about, and then I feel like Banjo Kazooie probably goes the other way around of like, hey, Japanese players this is something that American players care about, and like it kind of helps a more global community form, which is again a really beautiful aspect of what makes Smash what it is.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a great way of saying it. That's a fact I did not know. I knew Dragon
Yeah.
Quest was very popular, but then when you hear it compared to a Western audience or something like that, you're like, I think it's popular. I just don't know how popular it is. And then when hearing that fact, I'm like, okay, that's insane. Like,
It's it's huge. They love it
it's
there.
kind of like how employers just assume, hey, there's going to be a lot of people taking off next Monday because it's the day after the Super Bowl, and we know a lot of people are going to be out, and it's going to affect business. Like, we just know Monday's going to be light. Like,
Yeah.
it's that thing. I get it. All right, this one is an easy no for me. It's Terry from King of Fighters. I know.
I'm with you on that.
I know.
I'd say
Apparently,
probably not.
yeah. I mean, my thing is this. From what I know, King of Fighters is apparently very popular in like Latin America and Central America.
Hmm.
Oddly, because it kind of hits economic standards. The best I've heard is like they couldn't afford Street Fighter at the time, but they wanted Street Fighters, but they could afford King of Fighters in arcades, so that's why King of Fighters still has like a presence there.
So
That could be
funny. I
complete
didn't know
bullshit.
that.
That could be
I
complete bullshit. I've never been able to actually track down that information and say like, yeah, that's actually accurate. But apparently when
hmm
they were doing like regional things, the people that were very knowledgeable that commented on there were like, yeah, Hero is a Japanese ad. We Heroes in this because Japan needed a win. Whereas like Banjo was like, yo, the American audience needs a win. They are
hmm
getting Banjo. And then apparently it felt like Central America and like Latin America was like, we need to give them a win. We'll give them
That's
Terry.
cool.
I don't know if that's true or not, but like that's everything I
My
heard
my
about it.
understanding my understanding is another big aspect of this is that this is very much a like Sakurai pick
Yeah.
because he's a huge fighting game fan.
Yeah.
Like outside of obviously because he's making one of the biggest fighting games in the world, but like outside of Smash, he has a ton of experience and respect for like the fighting game communities and
Yeah.
like all the other different games in the franchises. And like King of Fighters is an important fighting game. Like I think that like in
I
those
don't know
arcade scenes,
I
like it
don't
was
know why, but I just don't
it,
know
it
about it.
was
I don't mean that to be
it
ignorant.
was
I
a
just
big
don't
it
know.
was a big deal. Yeah, I feel you. Like my understanding is it was a big deal in the same way that like it. How do I word it? It is the kind of fighting game that people who love fighting games love. Like it's like a Guilty Gear kind of thing where it's like, oh,
Okay.
like most people don't care about this, but for the people who do care, they really care.
Okay.
It's that sort of thing.
Fair.
It's a little inside baseball. But like yeah, for me personally, definitely a like probably not.
Yeah. It's probably not on Terry for me.
Yeah,
Byleth. Byleth, we've already kind of talked about. Byleth's a final 40 for me. I think
yeah.
Byleth is the best and most playable new rep of Fire Emblem that they've made. I think even Corrin can be a little bit tricky sometimes. And I think
Mhm.
recency bias helps in terms of business as well. That's where
Mhm.
another reason I'd give the nod to Byleth over Corrin. I personally like
Mhm.
playing Byleth a little bit more than I like Corrin, but it's like a 1% factor. It's not like it's like I love Byleth, I don't like Corrin. It's literally like
I get that.
barely.
I think that I am glad for Byleth to be in the final 40 as well. I one Corrin's cool. They don't have to be compared. I like the spike move on Corrin,
Yes,
like
I
the
do too.
side B move.
Yeah, it's
That
great.
side B move is so weird. It's so like it having it be a you can do it and hurt a guy, but you can do it again and spike a guy. And
Yeah,
then after you've spiked the guy, you can do a third thing, like the combo, like built-in combo potential that is so interesting.
yeah.
Um, but sorry, we're not talking about Core. We're talking about Byleth. Like Byleth, I think is it's the newest Fire Emblem rep, which is cool. The having three different weapons thing
Also
is
cool.
really rad, and having that represented as like the side, the up, and the down on both your specials and your normal attacks, I think is like really rad.
I,
It's a good expression of the core idea there, which is your protagonist character that you play as in those games is not tied to one moveset and can go down any of those branches. Being able to do that in the in-game like whatever the ludic sense is really rad.
I also think it is super cool because I think another nod to the dev team, and it may be crazy for some people that just hate getting new Fire Emblem reps, is like I just understand we're getting one at least every game. I don't need
Mm-hmm.
four, but like one
And
I
for what it's
get.
worth, we've only got at this point two on our roster.
Really? Oh, because
Yeah,
we
in our
didn't
final
put Ike
40.
in, because I would have fought for Ike in the final 40.
Yeah.
But now looking at some of our choices, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna get Ike in there.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated the fact that I didn't get the hate for Byleth for the character, and some people started being like, it's not even that good of like a move set or whatever. I'm like, yo, one, you just need to be a realist, okay?
Hmm.
They're putting another Fire Emblem character in this game. I wish they didn't. There's a lot of characters that I want more than a Fire Emblem character, but they're gonna do it. But they're listening when they hear so many people say all these sword fighters and their basic move sets. Byleth is not that. They give variety to
Yeah.
Byleth. It's them listening to some of the things that people complain about. You know?
Hmm.
And it still honors the source material. It still honors the character. It still honors the game and the player choice. That's cool. I just because I don't like Fire Emblem and because I've never played Fire Emblem and the gameplay I've seen of it, I'm just kind of like I know how crazy that statement is. That's why I'm clarifying right now. Like,
It's very funny to say back to back
yeah,
just because I don't like it and I've never played it.
yeah, exactly. Like, here's my thing. I was about to say the gameplay I've seen of it has never intrigued me. And when
Hmm.
you or Ashley or other people in my life has been like, you should try it, and you like, I watch it or I like half play it through you guys, I'm kind of like, I just don't think it's my thing. Like it's never meant to be like I hate Fire Emblem. It's just like I just don't think it's my thing. I want to try
I
it
get it.
so I can be a little bit
It's
more
cool.
educated, but like
Yeah.
it doesn't have enough pull for me to be like, yo, you got to try it. Like
Totally fine.
whereas like
It's
right
one of those
now,
strategy games.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like that's what I mean by that. It's not like I never played it. I hate it. Like I sound like one of my 5-year-olds at work when we made guacamole today. And they're
Love
like,
that.
I hate guacamole. And I'm like, have you tried it? No, I just know I don't like it. And you're like, okay, well, you're going to try it. Shut up. You know,
It's
like,
green and it's a vegetable. I'll never.
exactly. And I'm like, and now I have
Yeah.
a bunch of converts. I love guacamole. I'm like, yeah, shut up. I know. It's good.
That's really
Okay.
funny.
All right. We are to Min Min now. I do not feel strongly for Min Min being in the final 40. Um, I also don't even have Johnny Businessman hat on saying like I don't think Arms is going to be a big
It's
franchise in the
back, baby.
future. I don't think
Two
it's gonna.
arms.
Is Arms 2 coming out?
No.
I was gonna say I've never heard anything like that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't think Arms 2 is ever
If
gonna
they
come
if they
out. Or
ever
if it,
do a VR thing, if they do a VR thing, I think they'll do it.
yeah,
But yeah, that hasn't happened.
I don't think Min Min
Um,
needs to be in. Min Min's a cool rep from there. And then they went against what I say, which is, put put your icon in, put your main protagonist in. Don't put. But they just went like, nah, Min Min wins. Whatever.
I like Min Min
Yeah,
conceptually.
I like Min Min
I
conceptually as
never
well.
play Min Min. I never play Min Min, and like when I have played her, like I haven't felt the need to like I should explore this character more.
Yep.
I think Arms as a franchise is like hilarious.
Yeah.
hilarious what happened with that game. It's very, very funny. Like it's nothing. It was a very big deal when the Switch was launching, and then it was nothing, and then that
Yeah,
was
within
it.
months it was just
And
like
that's
ARMS. It led to
yep,
the Switch kind of having another dead period, and also making people even more like, yo, you buy this for Breath of the Wild or you don't buy it for months. Like,
yes, which is it's
insane.
just funny.
Yes, it is
It's
funny.
funny.
So I'm
Min
assuming
Min doesn't need to be in here.
probably not, or toss up just out of respect for the character.
Toss up out of respect for the character
Yeah.
because I don't think she's bad.
Yeah, I don't think she's bad either.
I'm mostly indifferent.
Yeah, I am too. We are now to Steve.
So we are now to the best DLC character.
I disagree with
I
you, but
think
on using my own logic, I can understand. I don't like playing Steve. This is purely Johnny Businessman. He's going in the final 40 because we got money to make.
so. We're in agreement he's going in the final 40, but also being able to create platforms is
That is cool.
a way, way out there idea for a platform fighter in
That's
this
true.
way.
That is
Like,
true.
I think that, like, I think it is what is cool with like, Minecraft Steve is one, it's the collaboration with Microsoft. So it's the
Yes.
like, oh, we're doing a thing that is like outside of our normal purview. And then also we're going to give them one of the most unique mechanics in the entire game, which is like actively mining and creating platforms. And my understanding is that they had to do like
A world of work to
active
do that.
development. Yes, like it was a lot of effort to be able to make this character work. And like they didn't have to.
No.
They could have totally like done a like, oh yeah, like he's got the pickaxe and he hits the pickaxe and that's
Absolutely.
fine.
And people would
But
have
like
been super
they
happy. No one would have said anything.
and people would have exactly. Uh Steve is really cool as a like showing of the above and beyond effort for the like respect they want to pay to like the games that they are representing.
Yep.
I think that is really cool. I also think that there's like an interesting element of in the competitive scene, Steve is very, very highly rated because of what he can do, because of his really unique move set and
Okay.
like the really strange, crazy mechanics that exist just for him. And I think that has led to like a really exciting element in like the competitive scene. Um, in multiple ways, for the good and for the bad. There are a lot of people who want Steve banned because he's like overly outside of the realm of normal. But like
Interesting.
that's an awesome thing to me. If you as a like character are so outlandish that people are like, we don't know how to deal with you, take him out. Like that's cool. That's cool. You are breaking eggs.
I'm
That is great.
sorry. I'm sorry. If you have to cover Randy Moss, figure it out. You don't get to just take Randy Moss out of the field. Like you don't get to say
I agree.
that's not fair that Randy Moss gets to play football. It's like no, figure it out, asshole. That's your
I got an
problem.
idea. Get better.
Yeah,
You maybe try using more skill.
especially now that it's a competitive player complaining about that. Because I'm not a competitive player. I get my ass kicked. I wouldn't care. I'm a general
Yeah.
player. I
Mhm.
I beat 7 and 8 year olds at my job at this game. That's about it. And some friends. And then
That's
when
why
I
you like
play
this game so
you,
much.
I get wrecked. Like okay, but
Toon Link, baby.
I mean I win 1 out of 10 battles with you, and you know what? It's a nice 10% win rate, and that's still probably too generous. But nonetheless,
You got to
like
bring me to your work sometime, and I got to put the hurting on those kids.
oh I know, but like a competitive player complaining about outside the box character is just like get good and get wrecked at the same time. Okay, like that's how I feel bad
I,
for
I
you.
am I am generally a believer in like find ways to deal with it.
Yeah,
Don't just remove it.
yeah,
Like yeah, that it narrows the play space when you're just banning characters outright.
absolutely. It's just dumb. Like shut up. Alrighty, we're now to Sephiroth. We've already kind of discussed Sephiroth quite a bit, so
He's cool.
he's really cool, and I'd like to have him. I just don't know if he can make the cut of 40 with
Oh,
with some of the heavy hitters that we have out here that I want in the game.
who would you want in above Sephiroth.
Okay, so I definitely want Peach or Daisy or both over Sephiroth. I
You
think
can't do both.
I think either or both have more value than Sephiroth. Both business,
Interesting.
but also just Nintendo representation. Because I'm also starting to see, if I'm looking, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not really 6. 6, 7, 8, 9. So of almost a quarter of our current roster is third-party characters. And like that is one thing I always want to be conscious about when I build a Smash roster is like I think one of the reasons you can get so third party now in an Ultimate world is because you have such a heavy Nintendo influence. But I never want to lose the heavy Nintendo influence to get more third party. Does that make sense? Like I'm just like that's how I want things and I've
I
ever wanted things. But
I feel almost the exact opposite of the
I
way that you
knew
do.
I knew you would.
The I don't think there needs to be any deliberate or specific reverence towards Nintendo specifically
Yeah,
because video games
our video
as a
games.
concept are so much bigger than Nintendo.
Yeah, of
And I
course.
think that I think the perfect version of Super Smash Brothers would not be tied to any individual like platform.
Well,
Like
yeah.
the ideal version of Smash Brothers would be like everyone from all realms of video games are all like
You
on the
want the
board,
you want the
available,
you want the
viable,
Avengers end
and
game of everything. Yes. Yeah.
it comes to every platform and everyone can play it. Like that there in my mind, there's absolutely zero value in restricting any of this. Like
Fair.
the best version of this is the one where the creators have absolute freedom to like follow their bliss to make the thing that is like most impassioned by them. Like
Okay.
I because of that, like I see absolutely zero qualms or problems with any like I'm not even thinking of it as third party versus first party. These are all just characters to me
Yeah, okay.
because like
Well, that's
it
why
doesn't matter if Nintendo made them or not.
this is the conversation I knew you and I would probably be having when I brought this up all the way at the start of this video. When I was like, yo, I'm going to probably sound like Johnny Businessman a lot
Hmm.
when I bring up, like the cachet, the history of like the icon status or whatever of some of these Nintendo characters. And that's where like when I build this, I also just try to be realistic. It's like, yo, it's Nintendo's cash cow. They're gonna put Nintendo in it, but like it's been more fun, and I will fully admit it's been more fun when it's just like, maybe I just disregard that one. Let's just like make a fun game in our minds of like the existing characters, and so like I'm willing to say that. But when I look at
Hmm.
truly what I want more than Sephiroth, I really do think Peach or Daisy belongs there more than Sephiroth.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna say I think Ganondorf I'd rather have than Sephiroth.
I'd rather both. Hold on, I'm
Oh
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
I'm trying to fully process it.
We're
I'm
trying to
trying to fully
pare it down.
process the
The other
thought.
thing is like we can stop this and just go to would we be comfortable as let's do what you did like what we did with Joker, where I wasn't crazy about Joker in a Final 40 but understood it.
Hmm. Yeah.
I want Sephiroth more than I want Joker. For sure. So I would go, let's put Sephiroth in, knowing there's an argument that maybe we don't need 2 Final Fantasy VII reps, and we can revisit and go from there.
I'm not mad at that.
Because like at least Animal Crossing, it's like across a franchise where like we literally have 2 characters from a franchise from the
From
same
Final
game with
Fantasy VII.
no other representation from the entire franchise because nobody cares about the rest of the franchise except Final Fantasy VII in terms of reverence.
See,
I know people care
there's
about
gonna
Final
be
Fantasy. I know people care. They can say what they want. I get it. I'm not taking down your fan of Final Fantasy. But when you talk about a general audience, everyone knows Final Fantasy VII, and that is it. Like, that's it.
the big wrench we're gonna be throwing in here is once we get back to Sora. But we will get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, I understand. I knew that wrench was coming. I was prepared. Okay, we're going Final 40 for Sephiroth at the moment. currently, okay, I'm just counting this up. One, two, two. All right, we're at 34 of 40.
3440.
All right, so we got 6 slots left. I would really like to have Pyra and Mithra in. I think it's a super unique
In.
concept. All right, that's just easy. That's easy.
In.
Even what, and I'm of the agreement that if we're gonna go, like, I don't think Shulk has hit the icon or like Mario of his
Nope.
franchise status yet, and I don't think he ever will if they keep doing this like rotating protagonist thing. So,
Agreed.
so yeah, Pyra and Mithra definitely I believe is a better representation of Xenoblade than Shulk. I think honestly, I think the reason people have more reverence for Shulk is because of Smash. Because they're like, oh, he must be a big
I think so
character.
too.
He made it into Smash. He must be a big character. And you're like, is he? He was in one game.
They like it when he says backslash,
Yeah,
and they like it when he takes his shirt off.
yeah,
There are good standout things about Shulk as a Smash Brothers character, but I think Pyro and Mithra, in a video game sense, are cooler and more interesting.
yeah. All right, we're down to
They
our.
deserve to be in this roster more than him.
Yeah, I would agree. We are down to our final two. I have no use for Kazuya whatsoever. I don't think Kazuya belongs in this, especially with the other heavy hitters here. And that was before I even saw the potential misses to get Kazuya in. I get why Kazuya is in. I get why Kazuya is in a Smash Ultimate roster where you're like, yo, let's just get as many fighting game reps in as possible and as many things to say we're all about fighting games. And even by that standard, I don't think Tekken deserves a spot over other franchises or other things, and I don't think Kazuya was the guy to do it either.
Interesting. Would you say Heihachi?
I would have picked Heihachi only because I think he
Fair.
is, by look alone, is more iconic than
So distinct. Yeah.
Kazuya. And I think like when I see Kazuya, I understand he's a Tekken character. I know he's a Tekken
hmm
character, but if you tell me think of a Tekken character, I'm going to think of Heihachi. And also on
hmm
top of that, when I look at Kazuya, I'm like, that looks like it could be a villain in any basic fighting game ever.
Fair.
Whereas if I look at Heihachi, I'm at least like, that looks kind of Tekkenish. Okay, like whatever. It feels like
I,
it feels like Tekken got a rep because they made Pokken Tournament and they had a working relationship with other developers, and they're like, yeah, I mean it makes sense. We're putting King of Fighters in, so I guess Tekken deserves to be in.
so thinking about this, they worked on Smash Brothers, right?
What
The
what
people,
company's
the
Tekken?
people, the people who make Tekken. I'm trying to remember who makes Tekken. Is it Tekken developer is Bandai Namco.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, because I thought Bandai Namco also worked on Smash, so I
They
feel like the crossover there makes sense. I if it were me, I would have him as high outside looking in,
okay.
but I'm not. Based on what you're saying, I'm not actually against it. And I don't feel that passionately about him.
Okay.
Um, I I like the one of the things I like about what they did with the DLCs for Smash Brothers is the crossing of the streams of different fighting games
Yeah.
and like representing the like what would this fighting game style translate to in Smash Brothers. And I think that's cool. Like
Yeah.
I like that idea. I respect that idea. And that is the big aspect of why I would want like Kazuya in here. But like I don't actually feel that strongly about the character itself
Yeah.
or the move set itself. I think that like they've done a fun job and a good job of representing Tekken through the character,
Yeah.
but also like he himself is just it's just Kazuya. He's fine.
Like, that's my thing is like I think it would almost been more value if you were
He's
going
another
to go.
shirtless dude.
Yeah, like I think if you were going to go that route,
Mm-hmm.
I almost think you need more fighting games represented. And
Fair.
and like it's not fair cuz Terry is in this game, but like to me of all the DLC characters, Terry is by far the most irrelevant. And I know
I'd
that can
probably
be
agree.
regional basis too, but like when I saw that, I just went, all right, whatever. Like, I don't even know
Yeah.
who this is, and it doesn't even look interesting.
I knew who it was, but it was definitely of the we're adding a fighting game characters. Terry was definitely the most also ran of like this is another fighting game character.
Yeah, and like I feel like if you're gonna do that, I feel like you have to get a Mortal Kombat character in. You have to get. You have to then think like, okay, we're really gonna go down this rabbit hole of like getting fighting game characters to get all the big guns in together, and it's almost like I would more accept Kazuya as a fighting game rep in another fighting game if they would have gotten other fighting game reps in, because then I would have been like, oh, okay, like
I could see
they're
that.
they're trying to get the whole gambit. Makes sense. It's not what I want, because I'm going from the other way. I want.
Yeah.
I love the fantasy aspect of it. Big yo, this is Avengers Endgame. We can take like a like I look at it like that way where it's like Iron Man is a pure action film for the most part, but has some sci-fi elements. Captain America is like a spy political thriller with heavy action. You know, Ant-Man is a heist comedy with whatever. Like, you know, Thor is
Mhm.
high fantasy with superheroes. That's what makes those great.
Mhm.
I like that aspect of it where it's like, yo, we're going to have Mario from the Mushroom Kingdom next to Link from Hyrule where everything's going to shit. Where like, and then it's just like, oh, we have this fun world where monsters live in our pocket in Pokemon, and you're like, I love that aspect of it. I'm not invested in the
Mhm.
yo fighting games in fighting games. That's really cool. Like it's not. It doesn't hit me,
Mhm.
and I would say probably there's more players that are probably like me that love the Forbidden Door aspect of it than they do
Yeah.
like oh fighting games and fighting games kind of thing.
It hits me in a like lover of video games kind of way.
Okay.
It's more of an academic sense.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't even actually play fighting games all that much, but like
Yeah.
I love the community and the scene and the ideas of a lot of the things around fighting games.
Okay.
And I feel like that is what I appreciate is that I think that a lot of these fighting game character additions are Sakurai's love letter to the fighting game community. I think that aspect is really cool, but I do not hold that same passion in the same way.
Fair.
Like it originally like that if I were to put Kazuya in, it would be wanting to represent that love for the fighting game community. But with our conversation about it and hearing how you feel about it, I would totally be fine with having him in the probably not category and just like yeah, like
You
he
know
doesn't
what?
make the cut.
Out of fairness for both of us, let's go toss up.
Toss up,
Because
easy,
you're not wrong. Like
right behind Min Min.
as a collection of fighting games, yeah, I get it. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's the most worthwhile. Okay, here's where the internet's gonna hate me. I don't need Sora. I don't. Sora has a similar feel to Banjo to me, and I'm saying this as someone who didn't play Kingdom Hearts. I understand. I don't have the love for it. It's okay.
Very wrong.
If I would get why we'd keep it, I don't need
So
Sora.
good.
I don't need Sora.
So good.
I
So
also
good.
think this is one thing that someone pointed out on some other stuff, and I do agree with this concept. Outside of the one Mickey Mouse emblem on the key blade, there is not another single reference to Disney. I don't want Disney references in Smash, to be clear.
Don't need it.
I don't think I want it, nor do I think it's necessary for me to enjoy the game. But I do think it says a lot because I feel like it limits the character because that character lives just as much as Disney as it does in the Final Fantasy esque realm. And I think it's like almost like you can't use that elements where it's like a negative of Bayonetta. Where Bayonetta, they're like, we can do this the right way and steer it the right way. Where it feels like we're taking away so much from what makes people love Sora that the inner child that gets to play through the Disney worlds. Oh, and by the way, we're gonna mix the adult themes of Final Fantasy into it. You're taking like all the like special goodness out of it to a degree, and you're like, it just has that. and it feels like you can't fully explore the character in the way of even like you persuaded me to put Joker in because of the music and how big the story is Persona. If you can't
Kingdom Hearts
use,
got good ass music, man.
I know, but like, can you even?
Ooh,
Didn't it only get like one track or like
good
two?
track.
It got, like one track, like that's my thing,
Let me double check. I don't actually know which songs came in.
and that was my thing. Is like I don't know that much about Kingdom Hearts, and I don't care that much for Sora. I was really happy Sora was in the game for two reasons. One, I was like, huh, glad Sora finally got in the game because one, a lot of people are going to be really happy, and I'm happy for them. And two, now we can finally move on to another forbidden character that no one believes is finally going to make it in, is going to make it in eventually. Maybe Microsoft is finally going to have a powwow with Nintendo and somehow they pull off Master Chief. I don't think it belongs. I don't need it, but I will be excited if I see an Energy Sword and
If you
Master
see a Mr.
Chief.
Chief come in.
If I see Master Chief, I'm going to be like, that is cool. Like, I can't argue it, man. Like, if I see Scorpion or like Raiden, I'm not even a huge Mortal Kombat fan, but I am going to be like, that's pretty cool. Like, you can't
That's pretty
argue.
cool, yeah.
So
So
that's why I would say I don't need Sora.
for Sora, I will say as someone who is a like pretty big Kingdom Hearts fan,
Yeah.
when I played through Kingdom Hearts 2, it was my favorite game of all time. And like I've played through 1, 2, Birth by Sleep, Chain of Memories, and I'm trying to think if there's any other ones.
Do you play Kingdom
I think
Hearts
those are
3?
the
Did
ones that I've played.
you ever play
I
Kingdom
played
Hearts 3?
some of Kingdom Hearts 3,
Okay.
and that comes into this conversation because I think that for people who are fans of Kingdom Hearts, I think your read on it is actually a little bit wrong. I don't think people who love Kingdom Hearts love it because of the Disney.
Sure.
And I think Kingdom Hearts 3 is a great example of that kind of playing out to be true. Because Kingdom Hearts 3 puts a heavy focus and emphasis on the Disney element. And I think most of the people that I know who also are Kingdom Hearts fans were disappointed by Kingdom Hearts 3. And a big part of it is that
Too much
A,
Disney?
it was too much Disney. B, it was not enough of the actual like it was presented as like, oh, Kingdom Hearts is Final Fantasy and Disney. That's what the overlap is. But in practice, when you're playing it, it doesn't feel like an overlap of Final Fantasy and Disney. It feels like an overlap of Disney and Kingdom Hearts. And Kingdom Hearts like takes some of these Final Fantasy like elements and characters and they like find their way in. But Kingdom Hearts makes its own wholly unique thing of it.
Okay.
And Kingdom Hearts 3 leans far too heavily on the Disney and is worse off for it. So the way that that plays out is two different ways. One is there's very little of the Kingdom Hearts type stuff. Two, there is a lot of the Disney, and half of the lot of the Disney is just essentially you playing a video game rendition of those like Disney movies.
Interesting. Yeah, that kind of
And
sucks.
what the old games did that was really really cool was that there's this world of Disney, like these Disney like movies, and then you come in as a like kind of like interrupting force. You are making things different, you are making things weird, you are changing things, and you are having impact. And like by virtue of you even being there, like it changes the course of how everything plays out. So like you
Okay.
get to exist in these worlds and explore them, but not necessarily like just watch the movie again. And Kingdom Hearts 3 was a lot of like it feels like I'm just watching the movie again, but also there's this guy with big ass clown shoes who's also here. So like I say that because I don't think I don't think there's any condemnation to come from the fact that there wasn't Disney that came with it
Yeah.
because the strength of Kingdom Hearts on its own more than enough makes up for it.
Okay.
Along with that, I will say that like as far as most impactful moments, I think the Sora reveal trailer
It's pretty big.
is special.
It's special.
It's special. Like when I watched it the first time when it happened, and just like the actual surprise of it was like they're actually doing it. That's crazy. And then like it was like 2 days later that like me and Ashley were talking about it, and we were like, yeah, everyone's like talking about this trailer, like we should watch it again. And like watching it again, not in the aspect of like, oh, I'm absorbing video game news,
Yeah, initial
and taking it
surprise. Yeah.
instead as like, oh, what they're showing, what they're doing, what this represents. Like I was totally one of those like, oh, I'm feeling kind of choked up looking at this.
Hmm.
Cuz like this was such a like big thing for me through like my childhood or whatever. Like Kingdom Hearts Sora is like really cool. It's the thing you always wanted as a kid. It's
Yeah,
like,
of course.
what if he could? What if they could? Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one aspect of it. That's just everything around the character. I think the way that they actually represented the character in the game is also really really cool. There's this aspect of those Kingdom Hearts games where the combat is it's a character action game, but the combat is like games don't feel like Kingdom Hearts unless they're Kingdom Hearts games. And that floatiness, the way that the like combos and stuff works, like carried into the character such that when you were playing Sora in Smash, it felt like you were doing Kingdom Hearts moves and Kingdom Hearts combos. And like the way that they were able to capture that floatiness and balance it so that it also worked in Smash Brothers is like really really special.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And like the only downside I would say is that there is so much more they could do with it. But like that's not an indictment on the character and what they
Okay.
did do. It's just like Kingdom Hearts is cool enough that they could do way more if they wanted to. Like if they wanted to add some of that Disney stuff in, like there could be cool ways to do that. But there's also a lot more
I
just
also don't need
bare
it.
yeah, also don't need it.
Yeah.
But there's also a bunch more of just like bare basic Kingdom Hearts stuff that they could be adding too. Like that would be really cool. On top of that, them having those Final Fantasy representatives in the game, them having their like Clouds, them having their Sephiroths, and original Kingdom Hearts also having those characters and referencing them, like it ends up being this weird additional value add to
Okay.
things that are already there. Like it in the first Kingdom Hearts game and the second Kingdom Hearts game, I don't know about the third. Sephiroth is a big deal. Like Sephiroth is a special boss fight that is fully optional that is considered like the hardest thing you can do in the game.
Okay.
And as someone who never played through Final Fantasy VII, like the grandeur of who he was as a character showed through to me such that when Sephiroth was announced for Smash Brothers, I was stoked and excited from this third person perspective of experiencing him through Kingdom Hearts.
Interesting.
Like that is how much impact Kingdom Hearts was able to make and like how much reverence it showed to like other franchises as well. Like all of that stuff comes together in a way for me to kind of express that like Kingdom Hearts is special. I think Kingdom Hearts as a game franchise is like totally special and it finding its way into Smash Brothers like represents so many different like weird, eccentric, out there and exciting aspects of
Sure.
video games. Like knowing that like the last Smash Brothers character that is going to get added to potentially the last Smash Brothers game,
Yeah.
which is this giant mashup.
Which I don't
of,
believe
like,
for a second, but
video game.
continue.
I don't either. Which is like this giant mashup of video game history. The last character being something that in and of itself was this mashup of like video games and something else like beyond it. Like it feels like there's
feels
something
appropriate.
poetic to that.
Sure.
It feels so appropriate that like the final addition to the mashup is something that is known that was foundationally known for being a mashup, but grew beyond that because of its excellence as a video game. So like that cyclical like rounding back of the love letter to video games through something that seemed like a love letter to movies but ended up being a love letter to video games itself, like beautiful. Like what a perfect representation of that. Like in my mind, like Sora's on this fucking list, and I've been genuinely actually trying to not swear, and it's
I can
snuck out of
tell.
me. I think it's my
I've-
first F bomb.
It is.
Yeah.
Because I've been keeping count of every time I've been doing it, and I'm like, you even said like something A, and I'm like, you can just say ass, dude. It's fine. But I could tell that
Yeah,
you were
but
trying not to, and now I'm like, just do it. Who cares?
and Kingdom Hearts brought it out of me.
I mean,
Like that, there are
I'll throw you a
there's probably
bone.
half there's probably half
Sora's
of the
on
final
the
40 I
list.
would
I
cut.
get it. You like
Half of the final
Sora.
40 I would cut before Sora. No, it's not enough that I like Sora. You have to like Sora.
Um,
I'm joking,
so
joking.
if we're gonna break the tie, Sora would be a toss up, but I'll throw you a bone. You had me more on Snake than you did on Sora. Of all your arguments that convinced me, Sora is by far the least one I'm
Oh,
entangled
that's
with.
surprising.
Here's my thing. I
I think the argument for Sora is so much stronger than like so many other characters on here.
it's also just comes down to my own love and affection for stuff. Like we have to be honest. Like if we didn't have the appreciation for some of the things that we do, would we have half these characters on here? Like I don't think this is right. I think you need the elements of the weird. But if someone else was making this list and took more of like a really steadfast approach to what I was saying, or took some of your elements, you're like, I want the most unique fighting game possible,
Mm-hmm.
would half our final 40 be on there? And we're not even finished yet.
Thinking about that.
Like, I could easily understand if a Nintendo boss said, yo, you're taking Sora because it's going to make us money. And I'm going, okay. But also saying, like, yo, I want another character in there. Get that Ice Climbers crap out of here. And I'd be like, but no, I love Ice Climbers. And they'd be like, no, it's
Yeah.
not going to make us a ton of money. So no. And like, I would understand it. I would understand if someone said, there's no way you can have King K. Rool in this game without Donkey Kong. And if you're not putting Donkey Kong in, you're not putting either of them in. I'd be like, man, but I would understand it. Where I feel like Kingdom Hearts can exist on its own and Sora doesn't need to exist here. And I know that sounds dismissive, especially after you just went on a 15-minute love letter to the goddamn franchise. Like, but
I will say it is one of those things where I think that I think you are wrong about that. But that
I
is like
understand.
we're coming from very different perspectives.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're coming from someone who literally just said, at one point in my life, I thought it was my favorite video game of all time. Because trust me,
It's
if
still
the
up there. It's
if it
high.
were Dragonborn and not Sora there, I would have a million reasons as to why the Dragonborn has to stay. And if you wanted to poke fun, you could poke a hole in every one of them. And I wouldn't be able to say he's wrong. But I would
I
fight
will
you
say
to the death to get Dragonborn in this game. You know what I'm saying?
for me I do think that like I think there is, and it sounds stupid because all of this is opinions, but
Yeah.
like I think there are more objective like aspects of like what makes Sora distinct and stand out. Like the aspect of like that mashup of a mashup, the aspect of like that love letter to the fans, that aspect of like the importance of the impact of the final reveal trailer
Yeah.
for a game franchise who has like it is like a big deal. The iconic view of like the letter
Yeah.
with the stamp on it
Uh huh.
with the Smash logo.
Yeah.
Like it it because of how big of a franchise Smash is, it has so many different ways that it is important and
Yeah.
impactful and iconic. And I think Kingdom Hearts like overlaps with so many of those to make it a better to make Smash Brothers better.
Yeah.
Like it's there's like for example like I think if Master Chief was in this game, that's cool because like Master Chief is a big video game character.
Yes.
I think like Sora is like appropriate in way more ways than like just being a cool video game character people like.
Okay. That's fair. I already gave it to you. You've won.
Cool guy. He got big shoes.
I
Put
don't.
Riku in next.
My also thing is I do think Sora peaked in the trailer.
Interesting.
I think that's the highlight of the entire thing. Is the fact that you got to see him with Mario. I don't think it's necessarily because he's in the game. I know that sounds insane, but it feels like the cultural impact is at its peak when the trailer ends and everyone can go, wow, it happened. I don't think it's because of Sora actually being included in the game as like a playable character. And that is where I'm going to sound
I
like an asshole.
So the thing that I would say is I don't necessarily fully agree, but I don't necessarily also view that as an indictment
Yeah,
because of how impactful the
exactly. I
trailer is,
can't.
and because of how
Yeah,
it's because of how essential and how important those trailers are to what Smash Brothers is. Like,
yeah,
it's one thing when you get your hands on a character, like now it is a video game, and now it is something that you are exploring as like a video game space, and like
yeah,
at the end of the day, like it was always going to be like you press up B and he goes higher. You press Y and he jumps. You hit
yeah.
right and A at the same time and does a smash attack. Like there's only so much they're going to do in that space.
Yes.
But having that moment of this is the reveal, like now this door, it's like you said, the forbidden doors. Like now
Yeah.
the door is open. Like once the door is open, like it simultaneously is also boxing it into like now it is a Smash Brothers character.
Yeah.
How do they express the Smash Brothers character? And like it removes some of the like theoretical what could it be. Now we know what it is. That's fair.
Fair.
I don't view that as a negative. I don't view that as an indictment. I think that's a great thing.
I okay. I get it. We got 4
Yeah.
slots to fill, and we got to fill 'em. I think it's probably best, unless we really, really want to go into a few toss-up characters, to stick to outside looking in as options.
I'm taking a look through. I'm starting at the bottom and just looking up and
Okay.
seeing if there's anything that's like a oh they should definitely be in here.
Because to me, I see. I see maybe 6 options to fill 4 slots. Maybe 7.
One. I think I'm seeing
I can
5.
see up to. I can see an argument for 8 or 9 if I had to.
I should start organizing these in terms of
I will also organize them.
priority.
I will organize. So I'm going to pull up some on. Actually, I won't do that because that's not cool. I'll just reorganize. I will do. I will order them in what I feel actually really needs to happen.
Some of this is vaguely personal preference,
Yeah, of course. That's
which
where
I
we.
don't
That
necessarily like. Yeah.
this is where. That's to. This is to me where the the actual fun is, because this is where, like, one of the things is like, again, I'm always honest with the audience that I am. For me right now, it is 12:37 on a work night, and we have been recording for almost 4 hours. And I know it's late for you too, and thankfully
I'm there with you, brother.
you're still in at least the central time zone and have an extra hour that I don't have right now. But
I will also call out that
it's a work night for you, and
my
you got to
eye
work, and you got to do
my
shit too.
eyes are like blowing out of my head.
Yeah, I've
My
been
eyes
noticing
are
we're both
extremely
like,
red.
which why I kind of let the Kingdom Hearts conversation go a little bit, but also was like, okay,
Mhm.
because I was just like,
It's time.
it's
It's time.
it's
Yeah.
passionate, but also like, this is where the fun is, where it's the hurtful stuff where you have to make a cut. So the way I reordered it is I put characters in order of what I feel should be in, with respect to what we were talking about earlier. So I reordered outside looking in a way that I feel I would argue it, and then I also reorganized just the toss up top 4. So
So
go ahead on yours if you
I
want me to do mine.
I can I'm going to say there's because there's only 4 slots.
Yeah.
There are 6 that I think are contenders in my mind. I'm going to say their names out loud
Go for it.
and see if there's any overlap.
Yep.
Pokemon Trainer,
Okay.
Ganondorf, Zero Suit Samus, DK, Corrin, Palutena.
So I intentionally kept Pokemon Trainer out due to what we talked about before. I think that would have to count
Okay.
as a new character. Same thing
Okay.
with Zero Suit. I think that'd be a really interesting thing to explore. Um,
I think Zero Suit, as she is, could get in.
I could get it. I could understand that, but I think from what we were discussing, I would. Oh well, no, you're right. That would be consideration for me. Donkey Kong was
Mm-hmm.
definitely one on mine.
Okay.
Palutena is my fringe, and Ganondorf is definitely a like. I was I was gonna fight tooth and nail for Ganondorf, and I'm not even like saying that because I love Zelda. I'm just thinking impact, villain, heavy,
Yeah.
and you get the fan service elements of it that I do enjoy. Like that's, but I just think it fills a lot of holes that we've kind of had to take out just to consider characters. And that's the other thing.
Let's say Ganondorf and DK are in it,
Yeah,
and that means we
yeah.
have two more.
And
We have
then
two more to fill.
and unless we really get into a quagmire, we don't have to try to pull anybody out. But there are a few here that I would consider more than even ones I've put in before. That's the tough part. Um,
So
I think it is foolish in this game to not have a Peach or a Daisy, specifically Peach. That's just me. I would also put Charizard in, and then of the ones that were big of outside looking in, I had it Donkey Kong, Peach, Ganondorf, Charizard, Daisy, Palutena, and then Ike. And then, but I would highly consider Zero Suit Samus as well. And then toss up because I think we wanted to really do something with them. I do really think Zelda should be in this game. And I could understand a really good argument for a young version of Link, whether that be Toon Link, Young Link, or a mashup.
I mean, I agree on the Link thing. I just think that we're at a point where we already have Link.
Yeah.
There's it's too tight of a contention. I
Yeah.
would I think I'd be fine with Zard.
Okay.
Like Charizard makes sense on there. And like we don't actually have that much Pokemon representation on there as it is right now.
Yeah, we don't. Like we're gonna get it in the new characters, but we're not gonna get it in old characters. So it makes sense that we even keep the 151 OGs
Mm-hmm.
on this list, and we're like, okay, you've gotten Lucario, you've gotten Greninja, you've even gotten Incineroar. Cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on. And Jigglypuff, sorry, you don't make the party. Even though I love
Yeah,
Jigglypuff.
I do too, but as a Smash character, they're just okay.
I think Luigi
Um,
would do really well with the rest move. Personally, if we're gonna nominate someone to take that rest move.
I think so too. I love that idea.
Or I'm not gonna lie, for an anime reference, wouldn't hate it if Charizard got rest.
It'd be fun.
Just to be lazy and just be like, nope, I'm not listening to you. You're like, what a dick. Like, what a dick. Okay, I'm just gonna count it
I'm
up quick.
I'm looking through the list. I'm looking through the list of characters. And from our final 40, I don't know that we need Mario and Luigi.
Ooh, I can't agree with you on that one. 'Cause I think you need Mario for the cachet. I think there's a lot of potential to make Mario a really good character. He's not existing, but I think you need Mario no
Mm-hmm.
matter what. And I think Luigi's a really valuable character to have, not only for representation, but Luigi's actually fun. Like, I
Yeah.
can play Luigi and be happy. I am not happy that I get Mario, but I would never advise Nintendo or any company in a game like this to be like, we could have had Mario, but we just didn't do it. You're like, no, you're stupid. You need to have Mario. Where I see things, I could understand a cut of Isabelle or Villager. I'd argue Isabelle instead of Villager. And I could see a cut Cloud Sephiroth and going down to one Final Fantasy VII rep.
I
I would also make an argument against Sora, but I'm not even going to try because I could say, hey, you can have Kingdom Hearts with Sephiroth. It's fine. But I know that's not actually the case. That's just me being a dick to you. And also, since we
I
brought it,
appreciate the dickery.
and I would be okay pulling Joker for someone else. But we already said he's a loose 40, and I can get it. So
If we pull Isabelle, which two go in her place? Because we have 2 slots if we pull Isabelle.
if it were me, it would be Peach. Oh.
You're really tied to Peach.
I just think here, the other thing is this. One thing I didn't hit home on, because I hit a lot of like history, icon, like she is the
Yeah.
most prominent female character in gaming, like all that kind of stuff. I didn't even hit this outside of one joke comment. I actually really enjoy playing as Peach. I
Peach is
love
fun. I like Peach too.
like the side, just the side hip attack is phenomenal. The frying
Good
pan
stuff.
is great. The counter
Really
move with
good.
the toads is fun. Like she has a really
Fun
good
thing.
move set. So you boil
Yeah.
like it's like that's where I'm like, no, Peach needs to be here. Where
Let's throw Peach on.
like the build that we gave Daisy was great, but that's not what Daisy is now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's throw Peach on.
Okay, so I think we have 40. Is there anyone we want to take
Mhm.
off instead of Isabelle? Because ultimately, I also feel it feels somewhat strange. I think Animal Crossing is a bigger franchise than Final Fantasy to have 2 Final Fantasy 7 reps and not 2 Animal Crossing reps, and this is our cut to get the last character in this thing. Like that's
Feel
where I'm
like
like, but also like as we said, Isabelle's a little bit more of a clone than we thought. So
I think that I want to take Isabelle off because she's more of a clone than we thought. And outside of Isabelle, I'm looking through the rest of the roster. I don't know that we have anyone else that is a clone. Luigi is like legally distinct enough from Mario at this point.
yeah, they're 2 different characters now.
The other one is Falcon and Ganondorf, and I think they're also 2 different characters now.
Yeah. Especially like another thing that we can do after this is it can be a lot faster because it won't have to be all of this. Like, what characters need a little bit of a rebuild? What characters would like this is the direction we'd go in? And we already talked about it with Ganondorf. We'd do far more like Demon King, Tears of the Kingdom, Ganondorf. We wouldn't go so
That could
classic
be cool.
Ganondorf. Like we could get rid of some of those even somewhat clone elements and be like, yo, this is just a straight up badass.
Yeah, fully owned thing.
Yeah, if all right, I just pulled
Um,
Isabelle. We're at 39. I can understand an argument for Zero Suit, Palutena, Ike.
if those are the choices, I think Palutena.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We have Fire Emblem, we have Metroid. We get a Kid
Yeah.
Icarus rep. Not that we already said it doesn't absolutely have to be a Kid Icarus rep, but
Yeah.
that's where I would be. I think she's a really distinct and unique character. So I'm gonna count them up quick. In our final 40, we have the number 1 entrant, Sonic the Hedgehog, baby.
Yeah, baby. Number 1 video game character.
The number 1 video game character of all time, baby. Okay. 2 is Mario. 3 is Mr. Game and Watch. Also an absurd number 3, but we had to do it. Number 4.
Okay.
Number 4 is Link. 5, Samus. 6, Yoshi. 7, Kirby. 8, Pikachu. 9, Luigi. 10, Captain Falcon. 11, Bowser. 12, Ice Climbers. 13, Marth. 14, Mewtwo. 15, Wario. 16, Snake. 17,
Snake.
17.
Snake.
I wouldn't have taken Snake, but I get it.
I know you wouldn't have.
We don't need to we don't need to rehash this.
We don't gotta rehash it. We don't have to rehash it.
17 is King Dedede. 18 Rob, must have. 19 Villager chopping down them trees. 20 Little Mac fighting Mike Tyson. 21 the troll himself, Duck Hunt. 22 Ryu. 23 Cloud. 24 Bayonetta. 25 Inkling. 26 Space Dragon Ridley. 27 Fat Crocodile King himself, King K. Rool. 28 PP Piranha Plant. 29 Joker. 30 is Hero. 31 is Byleth, specifically the female Byleth, but we can still have both. 32 Minecraft Steve and them Moneybags, baby. 33 Sephiroth.
Hey.
34 Pyra and Mithra. 35 Sora. And our endless arguments. 36 Demon King himself, Ganondorf. 37 the Gorilla still makes it on in Donkey Kong. 38 we got to get that nice money from Pokemon with Charizard. 39 we get the most iconic female character in gaming in Peach. And number 40 we went with Palutena. That I am happy with this list.
Killer roster.
I don't think the one thing I will say, just to kind of recap, we did not I did not feel all that compromised at all. There was a lot of things that I thought we wouldn't be in lockstep on that we were like in lockstep on.
Mm-hmm.
The only ones I think were kind of crazy were the Daisy Peach thing, and it was like we were in lockstep. We just didn't know if we could justify them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have liked to have Corrin in, but it wasn't going to happen. We both really wanted Isabelle in, and we just couldn't figure it out. Like
if it were just me, I'd have Corrin instead of Palutena.
Okay.
But I think Palutena is a still really excellent choice.
Yeah.
I think that Corrin's moveset is really cool.
Yeah.
But I do like the element of adding the Kid Icarus representation.
Yep.
Over adding
another
Fire Emblem representation.
It'd be third Fire Emblem character.
Yeah. Like considering that, like I feel like totally comfortable with Palutena as the addition. And like when I am looking at the roster of cuts, there aren't any that I'm seeing that like really
punch.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would like Isabelle to be on there because like Animal Crossing is awesome and I think Isabelle is a really great character from that. But also like when you put her next to Villager, it becomes way more apparent of like they don't both need to be here.
Yeah.
It would be the one character on this list that feels like we're kind of double dipping into the Echo Zone. And I think it's cooler that we don't.
Yeah.
It's a cooler thing that like every character, you can pick any character and like feel like you were getting something like unique compared to all the others.
Yeah, the only ones that are close to gut punches, the only one that's like really I do not like, I really felt the need to get Zelda in. Didn't get it in.
That's interesting.
And I would have liked to see a young Link of some kind. It didn't matter if it was young Link, Toon Link, but that was with the caveat there needs to be more variation between the two.
Yeah.
I think like it's kind of dumb that I get why it was done. The whole gimmick in Smash Ultimate was everybody's here.
Yeah.
But to me, the best of both worlds, if you were going to do something, because if I were going to be realistic, which is what I was trying to do in a lot of my arguments, is like a lot of those third-party characters aren't going to be there if they reboot this franchise. Like I don't think a Joker or a double Final Fantasy gets in. I don't even know if a Ryu gets in. And for money alone or impact alone, one thing I will say about Sora is in a secondary crossover appearance in Smash, I think it loses some of its luster. I'm not saying people wouldn't be happy. Yeah. They would. But it's not the same as if like the first time around, right?
Yeah.
So I think I don't know how much money was exchanged hands. I don't know that shit. I find it hard to believe there was not heavy money exchanged for Steve.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be shocked if there was heavy money exchanged for Sora because of the Disney element involved. Even though I believe,
So
is Sora a solely owned by Square Enix character, or is that a jointly owned by Disney character? Because that means two wildly different things, and that is something I
that's
don't
a good
know,
question. I have
which
no
is
idea.
which is
Yeah.
why I asked the question. Um, so those, like, when I'm looking at what I would have built as, like, yo, I'm trying to build this from a realistic standpoint, it would have been Zelda's my number 3 franchise. I want at least 3 reps, and I want the Triforce at the very least. And if I can get a fourth with a younger Link, I'm doing it. But if I can't justify it, I can't justify it. So
Hmm.
that's what I
Are
I
we?
would have done.
I'm saving the tier list off.
Please do that.
Oh,
Mine will
let me
save.
put this in our chat.
I will save, but I appreciate you doing that just in case anything crazy fucking happens. So after
Yeah.
4 hours of plus work of being like, yo, what's this
Yeah,
Smash Bros roster? This
we've
took
really been at
so
it, huh?
much longer, but I also really appreciate what we did because we really gave every character a look through.
Yeah.
It was not, and we talked about it in appreciation. It wasn't just like
Hmm.
a don't like it, get rid of it. Like the fast ones
Yeah.
were the ones that were like, eh, or like,
Yeah.
or a definite like, oh, of course that's gonna happen. And we just felt the
We
need to
were
talk about them.
thorough with what we loved, thorough with what we hated, and then like there were some that were indifferent that got like the least amount of talking, but
Yeah,
that's okay because
yeah.
if there's nothing interesting to say about them, just say that.
Yeah, the character that got the most discussion that didn't deserve it was definitely Kazuya, but we'll move forward with that.
And then we moved on. Yeah,
Yeah, but
I will say,
we will
this
move forward.
took probably about how much time I expected it would take. Like
Interesting.
I figured it was going to take a while
I figured
because
this was going
like
to take us
knowing the
half the
two of
time.
us, half the time.
Yeah, at the very
How do I
least.
word it? If it took us half the time, I would not have been surprised, but I am not surprised that it took us the time that it did either.
Well, yeah, we're long-winded motherfuckers that want to get our point across,
Yes.
and we're talking about something that we're passionate about. It'd be really different if you were just passionate and I wasn't, and I was just cutthroat and said no or yes, or vice versa. If I was
Mm-hmm.
talking like, if I'm
Yeah.
talking like in-depth football history that goes past your level of interest, you're gonna be like, yeah, man, cool. Like
For
you,
sure, dude.
you love
Mm-hmm.
football, but you don't love football the way I love football. Same thing. If
Yeah, it's different.
you start talking about games I don't know that much about, I'm gonna be like, that's cool, but I won't have that much to add. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Um, we've been doing this for like a lot of hours, and I am fucking dead.
Yeah, so am I, and that's why we're gonna sign off on this first inaugural edition of the
First inaugural
O.N.E.T.A.
edition.
show. You got a Smash Bros.
Yeah.
roster, and we got more follow-up episodes coming. I want to say thank you to my lovely guest, my best friend in the entire world, good old Angie, with no eyes left to work and too many Sora opinions for me to count. But with that
Oh
being
yeah,
said,
baby.
this has been a wonderful first show. Catch us every single Tuesday here on the PTE Creative channel. If you want to get any new merch, go to ptecreative.etsy.com. Find us on Instagram. Find us wherever you can. We want to connect with you. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us where we're right. We don't really care. But thank you so much for watching. We appreciate all the interest. Peace, love, and hugs. Bye bye, Internet.